Okay. Well, welcome everybody. This is the Conservation Commission's meeting for Wednesday, December 17th. We're meeting only by Zoom. We're going to do a call to order. We have present Bob Shabbat, Laura Rodriguez, Tessa Gutowski, Jackie Kulig. Nora is sitting in tonight, but needs to be sworn in before she can be back on the commission. So she's with us. And we have a guest, Paul Pribula, tonight. I'd like to ask if somebody could make a motion to approve the minutes from November 19th.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, so that's Bob and Tess. Laura,
Yeah, got it.
any discussion, corrections?
I just want to bring something up, Kathy, under E under space opportunities on
Okay,
page 2. We need to, even though we did agree to expend $27.50 for 2 copies, we have to revisit that later in the meeting. I don't know where you want to put that.
yeah. I think we can do it under finance, Tess.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other corrections or suggestions with the minutes? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Okay. Present to speak. Paul, I had invited Paul to come to see what we do on the commission. Paul was a member in the past and had been very instrumental in helping with many things in terms of the initiation of the park, as well as a lot of GIS work that he did for mapping with us. So I've invited him to come back and see if he would like to rejoin us since Marilyn had to resign. So Paul, would you like to say a few words tonight?
No, just thank you for letting me be here. And I hope I can be of some value. Kathy already mentioned I did have the experience. I was a member, I guess, from 95 to 2010, maybe it was. And in there for about 5 years, I was either chair or I was co-chair with Gary Griffin. So I do have some experience. I've also been board president for Joshua's Trust, so I have a little more experience on the land conservation side. What you might care about most for some of your projects going forward be I do have some GIS experience. For a while, I was JT's mapping guy, and actually for a while I was Willington's mapping guy. But in any event, thank you, and I'll sit here quietly.
Oh, you're always welcome. I mean, if you have a comment, Paul, we're fairly informal
Okay,
meeting, so thank you.
as long as that's the rule. Thank you.
Yeah, you just can't vote. Okay, treasurer's report. Tess, you want to give us a little report?
Yep, I can give that to you. Under the 2025 to 2026 fiscal year budget, the balance that we have right now is $1,051.46. I received from the town through Kathy the expenditures through November 30th, 2025. So what's pending are four items. But I subtracted that, so the balance is 1,051.46. But I don't know if Heather's been compensated for $80 for the conference, or you, Kathy, for the food and the conference.
I did
And-
get a check.
Oh, you
from
did
the
get a
town.
check.
I just
Good.
haven't deposited it yet. Sorry. I'll do that.
Perfect. And then how about you, Kathy? Did you get your 2 reimbursements?
I did, thank you.
Good. And then the last one I don't know about is the Connecticut Land Conservation Council. So I'll be seeing that, I think, in the next month's report.
Okay, and I think one other encumbrance that we have that we had voted on was $50 for the Daily Award plaque, but we have not received the plaque yet, nor an invoice from Mark Drobny I know he finished them, but we were waiting to see if we could schedule some kind of a luncheon with Carol Jordan before, he was going to give us the plaque. So that's another $50 encumbrance that we just, have to make sure we are aware of. Not that our budget is close at the moment, so.
So that wasn't included on the table. It was still out there then.
Right, so we haven't submitted anything for payment yet to the finance office.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
so we'll just keep that in mind because I don't have any submittals to the finance office. So
Yeah.
I'll report on that in January once we get that.
Great, thank you.
So we'll leave it at 1,051.46.
Very good.
But just a quick clarification for me, those 4 items that you mentioned are not reflected in this balance, or they are reflected?
They are, I'm sorry, they
Okay,
are
that's fine.
reflected in the balance.
Okay, thank you.
Because I didn't get the town's report. The town's report goes to November 30th. And these must have been processed shortly, late or early in December. So that's why I'm waiting for the December report. So I should be picking those 4 things up in the December report that I should be getting in January.
All right, but the 1,051 is with them already subtracted.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
So the balance basically as encumbered.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
And for the ARPA funds, we have a balance of $1,399.79. There was an expenditure of $103.37 with from Willard's for materials. So that's reflective of that balance now. And there's nothing pending.
Thank you. All right, and last time we met, we had voted on buying 2 guides, the PA 490 Act guides, one that the commission could use so that we could provide information to landowners about the PA 490 program, and one that we were going to donate to the library so that they would have it on hand for loan. And we took a vote last meeting to appropriate $27.50. And when I actually went to fill out the form to give to Tessa that we were going to use to buy them, I realized that there was shipping and handling on both of them, not just one of them. So we have to add another $3.50 to that for a total of $31 to purchase 2 of the guides. So I'd like to ask someone if you would consider making a motion to do that.
I'll make a motion to purchase the 2 guides in the amount of $31.
Okay, a second.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Okay, any discussion?
Nothing in the books, just I'm taking a workshop with Deep next month. I think it's next month on the PA 490. So if there's any good resources in there, I will share them.
Thank you. That's great, Heather. Okay.
The other item under finance, Kathy, was the next year's budget request
we're
for
gonna-
26-27.
Yeah, we'll get to that test. We just got to finalize this vote.
Oh,
So we
sorry.
just no worries. So any more discussion about the PA 490 guides? All in favor of the purchase for $31, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to that next item, Tess. Our budget request for next year. I had sent out, let me see if I can bring it up here. I'm looking to see if I can get this to come up. There we go. So I had sent this out to everybody. This was last year's budget request on an Excel spreadsheet. So it looks a little different when you print it out. But basically last year we requested $1,500 to use during the year for different items, those items being membership, conference. Can you see this?
No.
No.
All right, let me
I have my own
let me
copy.
share my screen. Is that better?
It's processing on my machine. Here
Oh,
we
There we
go.
go.
Okay, sorry. Remind me if I'm talking about something that I can see and you can't, let me know. I just have to share it. So last year our budget was for 1,500 and there were 4 items basically or categories that we put the money into. We had $250 for membership and conference fees, which included CACIWIC, which is the Connecticut Association of Conservation and Inlet Wetland Commissions, and the Connecticut Land Conservation Council, CLCC memberships, as well as money in there to pay for conference fees for commission members. For example, this year, I went to the CACIWIC conference and that was $85, and Heather went to the Pollinator Pathway conference and I believe that was $80. So those are the types of things that we were spending money from this particular item. The CACIWIC membership we split with inland wetlands, and I believe our portion of it is usually $60 annually. And the CLCC membership that we gave this year, I believe was a $100 donation. And CLCC does a lot in terms of advocating at the state level for open space protection and putting adequate funding in DEEP's open space grant funds. They are also really important in terms of supporting land trusts throughout Connecticut. They provide mentorship, grants, advice, and so on. Paul could probably attest to that as well. I don't know how often Joshua's Trust, utilize some of their services, but they're a great organization. Then under programs and outreach, we had put $350 for environmental education events, display materials. We did some collaboration this summer with Willington Public Library, where we paid to have them have a speaker come in that did a program with children on environmental topics. Parks and trail maintenance, we had budgeted $600. Most of that money we end up using for purchasing materials to rebuild boardwalks and bridges. We have that additional ARPA fund that we can draw from up until March 31st of next year. So we want to try to spend that ARPA fund down first before we use any of the money out of our own budget for park and trail maintenance. And then the last one we had put in was $300 in case we needed assistance with verifying borders and boundaries, like around open space property that the town owns. So I don't believe we used any money for that up to this date. That's generally how we've kind of like split up the money. There's no mandate that we can only use money from a certain item here. I mean, we have $1,500 to spend and we can move money to a project even if it isn't necessarily listed here. These are kind of general categories where we're just estimating where we might need money. So what Tessa will do is she's going to write up our new budget request and she'll submit it to the Board of Finance when they request it, usually in January. So tonight, what we can talk about is how much we want to request and if we want to, basically do any shifting of these categories, or which would be up to the commission's interests. So anybody interested in making a motion on this so we can discuss it?
Well,
Make a,
go ahead.
go ahead, Bob.
No, I'll make a motion that we discuss what our budget bullet points are going to be for the 2026 year.
Okay, second.
I'll second that.
Okay. Um, let's start some discussion on that. What are people feeling about our request?
I'm sorry, I missed who seconded.
I
That was
Tess.
Tess.
Um,
Do we-
I'll start. Can I start with the discussion, Bob, real quick?
oh, yeah, certainly.
So Kathy and I met last month when I transitioned to be the treasurer. And so we took a look at the narrative for the budget request. And the request that we had listed in highlight yellow that we all received was $1,500, just to keep it year to year the same. But we kind of did a little bit of an edit on the narrative because things have changed a little bit. And so under the first paragraph, the Conservation Commission is requesting 1,500. We modified some language, like the soon to be required Pettix property is now the Pettix Sanctuary. And we added a sentence saying estimated expenditures are below, because we didn't want to have this fixed. So memberships, programs, park and open is not fixed. So we left it kind of like examples. So I think that's what Kathy's saying, is that if there were a project that were coming up, it wouldn't hinder us from assigning a certain amount to that activity. But we know that the memberships for Kakiwik and the Land Council is like fixed. So we know how much that's going to be, but we don't, it's everything else is kind of like open. And of course you can see that we'll have to modify also the members down below on that sheet.
Well, and there's always the opportunity during the course of the year to shift funds from one line item to another.
Yes.
So, I mean, I can certainly live with what our projections are for the 4 areas.
Well, I think given that we have money in ARPA where we can pre-buy some wood, we have a pretty good inventory now of all of our bridges and boardwalks. And we can identify what we need to buy in advance for projects for next year. So I wouldn't worry too much about leaving a lot of money in the park and maintenance item, for example, because we have that other money that we can use right now. Our budget will run until June 30th of next year, our present budget, and then we'll start the new budget that we're proposing July 1st.
Yeah, I with the ARPA money there needing to be addressed this coming year, I think we're fine with the budget as it's written out here.
Any other thoughts from folks? Is everybody?
I agree. I agree with Bob.
Everybody comfortable then just requesting $1,500?
Yeah.
Okay. And leaving, we can, if you want, switch a few of these things around by $20, $30 here and there, just so it appears that we've changed this a little bit or thought about it. That's up to other folks. We haven't used any money for open space monitoring. And honestly, I don't know how much $300 would really get us if we had to hire somebody.
Right.
But
I have a question about the ARPA funds.
yeah.
First, I did miss the balance, and I was going to email you, Tessa, but what is our balance? And my understanding is that has to be spent by the end of March of this year, 2026. Is that
Of next
correct?
year? Yes.
Has
It
to
has
be
to.
encumbered.
I mean, March is 3 months from now.
Right. I can tell you that what I've been doing is I have a full inventory of all the boards. for the boardwalks and everything, Chris and I went out and did an inventory, and we know which boards need to be replaced. And what we're going to do is pre-buy and spend down all of that money with boards that'll be needed next year, maybe the year after. They're all pressure treated. And I've talked to Troy at Public Works, and he said that we'd have space there to store all the boards that we pre-buy.
Okay. Okay. And you may have said that early in the meeting. I've been
Yeah.
trying to keep up and not doing a good job today. Then my second question is so that money will be spent. We'll have the boards for everything we know needs to be replaced right now. But when we're looking at the next budget,
Mhm.
for 27, right, we won't have that money.
That's correct.
So will that affect the next year's budget? Will that be a big impact? Is it something that maybe we should try to offset a little bit this year so it's not as big as impact the following year?
Yeah. Well, go ahead. I would say generally speaking, year to year, we haven't spent over, even before we had the ARPA money, we haven't spent over $600 to purchase boards for boards and bridges, except for when we did the Boy Scout bridge, which should not need any more maintenance for quite a few years. And that we did purchase the boards for that with ARPA money. That was probably like $1,500 to do the bridge. But generally speaking, we don't replace a lot of bridges and boardwalk tops. Year to year, we pick the ones that are in the worst shape and, give them an overhaul. And I think personally, I think if we leave $600 in the park and trail maintenance budget for 26, 27, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing that comes to mind, Kathy, is if we could contact Joe Philippi, maybe we could use a couple more wood duck boxes up in the Pettix pond.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. And Joe usually gets those from Deep. So he doesn't purchase them. We don't make them.
Right. I didn't know
But
where they came from.
yeah, he gets them from DEEP.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's a good thought.
Okay.
So
All right. So what is the balance of the ARPA budget?
Balance of the ARPA budget right now is $1,399.79.
Okay, $1,300
99
99.
and 79 cents.
Thank you.
Yep, that's fine.
it's
What-
hard to take notes and participate, isn't it,
Well,
Laura?
The hardest piece for me is the numbers when they're just said and I'm typing, and if I miss one number, then it's gone. We're on to the next thing. Okay. All good. Thank you.
Okay. So does anybody want to make a motion on this final budget? Do you want to do a little more work on moving money around from one item to the next, or just leave it as is?
I think we should leave it as it is.
Okay.
Sounds good. Did we have a motion on this?
We had a motion to discuss it, basically.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So we need a motion to approve it then?
to approve it. Yep.
Thank
I
you
will
for
make-
that, Laura.
I will make a motion to approve the budget for 2026, 2027 as outlined from 2025, 2026. Does that work?
I would state the amount and not,
Oh, okay.
state the full amount we're requesting.
All right. So I'll make a motion to request $1,500 for the fiscal year 26, 27 budget.
Mhm.
Okay.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, Bob, thank you. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstained? So moved. Thank you.
Hi.
Okay, let's get back to people. All right, thank you. So Tess, if you have any questions on that, just let me know. As far as I know, the Board of Finance has not sent out a letter yet, letting each commission know when their budget request is due, because they usually will tell us when it's due, and also they'll give us a date when we have to go before the board to discuss the budget.
Okay,
All right, old business, Fenton Ruby Park under property management. Just the only report that I have about the park is that Public Works put some stone down on Burma Road. The timber harvest that was done on the abutting property is finished. And Austin was going to remove all of the signage that he had put up about the harvest, alerting park users that there would be trucks out there. Those should have come down, and then Public Works went back after I walked the Burma Road with Austin and with Troy, because there was some rutting on Burma Road where the trucks had gone out, the log trucks. So Public Works decided they would put some stone down, and they've done that according to Patty, because she was out there. I haven't heard anything else from stewards. We have stewards for all of the trails in the park, and I haven't heard anything at this point that anybody has any concerns or issues about bridges or trees down. On the Petix Sanctuary, we had our hike on November 22nd. We had 9 people in total that came out to the park, including Tess and Patty. And Rachel Signer, who is the Park and Rec Director, also came out that day. That was her first time at the park. So she got to see the new sanctuary as well. And so did Paul Pribola. So we had a nice day. And I did send some pictures to Mrs. Petix we had everybody stand around the sign that's on the Petix property, and we took a photo and I sent that to her, and she's very touched that people are starting to use the sanctuary. So, all right. Knowlton Preserve and Talmadge Conservation Tract. We had a report from the steward, Ellie, that there was a tree down on Split Rock. So Chris and I went out and we took care of that with a chainsaw. Bill and Kathy Bland, who are stewards for the Talmadge Trail, reported that there's some boards that need replacing. That's part of the boardwalk that's down by the bridge on the Talmadge Spur that goes over a small stream, almost at the very end when you hit the Yukon property. I know some of you have been out there, Bob, in the past with us to rebuild that bridge.
Right.
So there's a boardwalk that leads up to it. And when we looked at it, it looks like there's 11 6-foot sections, or excuse me, 11 6-foot boards, 2x10s, that need replacing. There's only 1 or 2 that actually have kind of any real break in them, but they're all starting to deteriorate. So I don't know if we'll have time, but Chris and I were talking about trying to go down to Willard's, use some ARPA funding to buy some boards for that. So if the weather is nice on Saturday or Sunday, we might consider replacing the 2 boards that are kind of broken, at least before winter really sets in. If anybody's interested, has some time on Saturday or Sunday, if you want to just email me, I'll let you know if we're going to head out and do that. And we've already voted on in the past that we will be able to use that ARPA money for any boardwalk and building materials. So we don't need to vote on that. Tess, if I go out to Willard's and we pick up the boards, what we'll do is pick up an invoice and I'll make sure you get that.
Yep.
So you can turn it into finance.
Yep,
Okay.
got it.
Okay, great. Anything else? Anybody else have any updates that they want to share on Fenton Ruby or Knowlton? Maybe you've been out there or. Okay. Collaborative organizational news and communication. Steve Ozier from Willington Public Library had gotten in touch with me. Just wanted to let me know that this summer, the library's theme for their reading program, their summer reading program, will be Plant a Seed, Read. And he said it's kind of a farm to table theme this year. So if we would like to get involved, either by sponsoring somebody who might be able to come in to talk to kids or read a story or do a program related to agriculture, he said we could work together on that. So if anybody has any ideas or suggestions. Jackie, I wasn't sure if you might have some thoughts on this. Something we could
Yeah, I
collaborate
don't have
on.
any specific ideas that come to mind, but I'll give it some thought.
Okay. Would there be an opportunity? Here's just a thought based on some things we've done in the past. In the past, for example, we've had somebody come out to the park and read a story, and then the kids will go out on the trail and kind of look for things that they can relate back to the story. Would there be an opportunity at some point maybe to do a reading out at the farm and show the kids some of the things that you're doing out at Willowvale or Willow Valley, sorry.
I'm not sure if we'd be up for that. During the growing season, we're so busy and it's
Yeah.
hard to invite visitors onto the farm. So wouldn't say that we commit to that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if anybody has any thoughts on it, or if you know anybody else that's involved in agriculture in town, that may be interested in, doing something, think about that. We can talk next time we meet. I know as a group, we've talked about the idea of trying to get more people together in town who are involved in agriculture in some way, support them. We're going to talk about farmland support in a little bit on our agenda, but it really would be nice if there was some kind of a committee that could be started in town to relate better to folks that are involved in agriculture. And I know it's really hard because the people that are in agriculture are really busy, but we have some people doing some small scale things in town too. It'd be nice to try to get them together.
Kathy, just to interject, last selectmen's meeting, it was mentioned that somebody in town is trying to organize a farmer's market. Jackie, can you comment on that?
Sorry, it kind of broke up a little bit. Can you repeat that?
Sure. At the last selectmen's meeting, there was a short conversation about someone is trying to organize a farmer's market in Willington. Any insight to that?
Yeah, I did hear about that, but I don't really know anything about it.
Yeah,
The only thing I heard was via a Facebook post, and it sounded like they wanted to do it on Sunday somewhere near the firehouse.
Oh, okay. It was news to me. I didn't know anything, and I guess since you're one of the most active farmers in town, I thought we'd ask the farmer.
I know that I saw in the
Yeah, they hadn't reached out to me. Sorry, my connection's breaking up quite a bit. It seems like, but yeah, we go to 3 other neighboring town markets, so we wouldn't be able to participate. But we haven't heard anything from the organizers about it.
Okay.
I did see in the Economic Development Commission's minutes that part of their strategic plan did talk about trying to develop agriculture in town more in terms of, you know, supporting the town's economy, supporting the tourism in town, things like that. And I noted that they were looking to get a list of farms that are in PA 490 in the tax exemption or the tax reduction program. So I'm not quite sure what they're doing in terms of trying to reach out to farmers in town either.
Mhm.
So just throwing that out there. Park and Rec Department, we don't have anything planned collaboratively with them at this point. Natchug Healthy Watershed Advisory Board, which I'm on and chair. We're going to be holding a forest landowner workshop, which will be in the first week of June. And it's going to be two components to that. One's going to be an evening workshop that'll be a hybrid meeting. People can come either in person at UConn. We've got some speakers there. Or they can come online. And then on the Saturday that follows that event, we're going to have a field tour of an active forest in Mansfield. So one of the officers that's on Eastern Connecticut Landowners Association, he's offered his property as a field tour site. So I'll tell you more about that as that moves along.
When you say active forest, you mean like actively managed forest?
Actively managed, thank you. Yes. Yeah. And because we're looking at watershed issues, a lot of the training and education is going to be on protecting water resources when you're doing forest management activities. You know, whether you're putting in roads for doing some timber harvesting or thinking about riparian buffers when you're working in the forest. Those kinds of things are kind of focused on during these workshops. 300th anniversary in 2027. We had talked a little bit about maybe trying to support a scenic road ordinance in town. Bob, did you look at more into this or Heather?
I did not. You know
No,
what? It fell off my radar. I'm sorry. I will put it back on and look into it.
Yeah, no worries. Bob, anything else on that from your side?
no, I've been distracted with a few other things.
Yeah, like the tavern and like hosting everybody from the town.
It's so fun.
Yeah, which was we had a good evening.
Yeah, it
We
was
we
great.
really did.
Excellent. I'm glad that happened. And then Tess, we had talked a little bit last time about your idea of like a trail challenge.
Yep.
Yeah.
When Kathy and I forget, we were talking about finance that day. We stopped in to see Rachel afterwards. And I shared with Rachel, the Recreation Department, the state of Connecticut's hiking challenge. So I'll follow up with her some more later on in maybe January about it.
Okay, great. So the idea being kind of during the anniversary year is getting people involved, maybe getting out on the trails more.
Yeah, we could challenge him. It's like the state of Connecticut has something called Sky's the Limit, and they pick out like 15 hikes throughout the state of Connecticut in different parks. And you take like 3 pictures, you know, the sign, something along the maybe we could identify some kind of rock, and then they choose whatever they want, and you complete it during a certain time period, like a few months, and you get a certificate. And if everybody completes everything, there's a drawing for like a hiking stick. So it's nice.
Nice. Okay, great.
A while back, Will was my very little, maybe 4, but excuse me, the town of Mansfield had a like geocaching kind of thing like that to go see the trails, and it was actually really fun. And there was like a prize at the end, but with that idea of getting people out there to explore the trails, that might be something too that would be, or letterboxing or geocaching That's really family friendly, and you can do trails and, have the stuff there, but also expose people to the trails that we have in a fun
Yeah.
way.
I'll talk to Rachel about that idea too.
It was I remember it was through Parks and Rec in Mansfield in coordination with their trail system. So
Yep.
it was really fun, and it was a lot of fun.
That's great. And I know, Heather, you'd done some things before too with like trail bingo for the kids. Like they had like a bingo card that
Yep.
had symbols on it, things that they could find while they were out on the trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That can
That
also
was,
be added, another way to engage for sure.
yeah.
Heather, are you with Public Works?
Yeah, I'm the admin to the director
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
Heather, do you want to say just a few things about the other things you've been involved with, like Master Woodland Manager
Yes.
Program? Yeah, so people know that you're doing that.
Yeah, I know. That's why things fall off my radar. I'm really sorry. So, I'm a master naturalist. I was in the pilot program for deep. That was in 2015. But last year I finished the master wildlife conservation program. And this year I am in the master woodland management program, which is amazing. Um, I'm doing a survey of my property, but it's, doing a forest management plan for my property, but it's giving me lots of insight and ideas for our trail system in town, but also last night actually we had a big workshop on funding.
Mm.
So I've got a lot of info on that and what's available out there. I'm sure you guys also know, but there's a lot, even in light of, federal verbiage in acquiring these funds changing. There are still plenty of opportunities to get funds and use them for what we need to use them for. So I'm digesting it. There was a lot of information last night. I was actually going to put something together and see what we have that's available. Because I was thinking about the Pedix property. Um, it's a great part. I worry that with opening up that forest when they cleared the house, that's just absolute huge doorway for invasives to come in. But there are programs and funding for that kind of management.
Mhm.
Because that pine tree section too could use some work. But I will talk about that another time because like there's a couple of funding options that actually might apply absolutely 100% to that. But I
Okay.
will tell you more on that. But yes, those are some of the things I've done, am doing. I'm always busy. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. No, it's great that you've been involved with those programs. I know that Nora is also went through the wildlife master wildlife program as well.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
she has one of the kits
yep.
that, yeah.
Yeah, and I can get kits if you know what you want, if it's on bats, if it's on fur bearers, it's I can reserve those kits and present them and bring them. So I can get a list too of what we have available if you ever
Mhm,
want to do public outreach that way.
mhm,
I also do my my concentration in any of these programs has been habitat restoration. So that's kind of my passion. That's why I look at the Pedix property and I'm like, oh, this is an opportunity for some great things. So but yeah, I'll let me know if you ever want to do like an outreach with those kits and
mhm.
I can go grab them and we can plan something even, with the library or any other kind of collab too.
Yeah, no, I think that would be great, to try the collaboration's really nice because then the word gets out even more because we can use their social media resources for letting people know about these programs. And it's kind of nice to have that connection, I think. Do it together. All right. Any other news that people want to share about that they know of from other organizations that's relevant to our work? Okay, thanks. Support for farmland preservation. So as you know, we've been working on this for quite a while, and Jackie had worked on putting together some information sheets about 3 different potential ordinances. And we worked on that. We voted on submitting a letter to the Board of Selectmen regarding 3 ordinances. One of them was the right to farm. One was to increasing the tax exemptions on farm machinery, and the other was on increasing exemptions on farm buildings. And there were just a few little tweaks that needed to be done so we could get that letter off. Jackie worked on that at the end of the summer, and we put a letter together. And just as we were going to get it to the new Board of Selectmen, because we were kind of waiting because we knew there was going to be a transition and there were going to be new people on the board. I found out that one of the state statutes has recently changed on the tax exemption ordinance for machinery. So the original statute basically mandated that the first $100,000 of the assessed value for any farm machinery was basically, that had to be provided to somebody who applied for the exemption. But they recently increased that to $250,000. So the first $250,000 of assessed value for farm machinery is automatically exempt from taxation. So how that changed our proposal is originally when we thought it was 100,000 was the mandated amount, the state also allowed municipalities to have an ordinance to provide additional exemption beyond that of another 250,000. So the most tax exemption that farm machinery could have at that point was $350,000. With this new change in the law that just went into effect in October, it now it mandates basically that the first $250,000 of assessed value is mandated. So, that's just standard practice. What we had said in our letter was that we would like the town to consider an ordinance to add an additional exemption of another $250,000. So that would make the total come to $500,000 that could be exempt on farm machinery. So I told Jackie, I'd like to bring this back to the commission before we submit our letter, because we're going to have to go before the Board of Selectmen, then the Board of Finance to discuss this. And I want to make sure that we have the most up-to-date statute written into this letter. But because it's not what we had voted on originally, I wanted to bring it back before we go forward. So, Jackie, do you have any other things you'd like to say on that? Oh, maybe we're not hearing you. I know you said you were having some trouble with that.
I'm sorry, my connection is really breaking up quite a bit. I'm not sure if you can hear me or not.
We can hear you.
Yeah.
So what I was going to ask people to consider is, do we still want to ask the town to move forward with an ordinance that would allow for an additional exemption of $250,000 on top of the mandated $250,000 exemption for farm machinery?
So if you can hear me, one idea I had was to have the language be more adaptive so that our ordinance provides the maximum state allowed exemption in addition to the state mandated exemption for both the machinery and the buildings. So as the state statute changes, our ordinance would change to allow the maximum amount.
So the language of the ordinance would change to say allows the maximum amount. Since we don't have any control over the mandated amount, we know what it is, and that can change legislatively
Year to year.
when they want to do that. But you're saying instead of putting in a specific number in terms of what should be allowed in addition, you're saying just allow the maximum of what's allowed by statute?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
And what is the current maximum allowance? Do you know?
On farm machinery, the mandated amount right now, the new one is 250,000.
Right.
And towns are allowed to provide an exemption of an additional 250,000, but they
Okay.
have to do that by ordinance.
Got it. But so that's why if you do this adaptive language, then no matter where that mandated threshold is, you're going to always have the maximum allowed without having to come back and rewrite it for a specific amount.
Right. As things
I mean,
change.
That
yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I know that the Farm Bureau has been trying to increase these amounts statewide and make I believe, make the building exemption mandated for all towns.
Mhm.
So it's possible, there will be more changes even in the next couple years. So it'd be good to be adaptive.
The way that there hasn't been any change since we put our letter together and we discussed this on the farm buildings. The farm building amount, the maximum, it's not mandated. So each town has to decide if they want to give an exemption on the assessed value for farm buildings. And the state allows towns to have ordinances that allow up to an exemption of $500,000 per farm building. So if you have more than one farm building and its value is $500,000, if you have an ordinance in town that allows for that, you basically, wouldn't have to pay property tax on your farm buildings. So the way that we wrote it, for those of you that are new to the commission, is that we said that we recommend that the town establish an ordinance that allows up to $500,000 tax exemption on buildings. I just heard somebody else coming in, so let me check. Oh, Tessa must have lost her connection. So Tess, that's interesting. You're in twice. Maybe,
Once it's
because you
frozen.
froze.
Yeah, I froze. And
Okay.
and my computer was gonna die, so I had to reach over and plug it in.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna ask, how many towns in Connecticut have an ordinance for the agriculture that we're considering?
There's quite a few that have different ordinances related to farm support. Some of them have ordinances about the right to farm, which is basically establishes like it doesn't allow people to object to farming because of things like odor or noise and things like that. It supports farming. And
Right.
some have established ordinances to allow the additional exemptions on farm buildings and farm machinery. But they haven't all necessarily done that, and they haven't all necessarily allowed for the maximum additional exemption. Ashford has. Ashford's one of the towns more recently that's allowing for the extra 250,000 on farm machinery and up to 500,000 on the buildings.
And when do they adopt that?
That was last year.
And does anybody have a sense on what the impact would have been to the tax?
Mhm. I did ask the tax assessor in Ashford that actually, and it looked like they had a tax impact of around $200,000 less they collected.
Okay.
because they allowed that additional exemption.
And Ashford seems like a bigger
I
agricultural.
think they were just updating their exemption to adapt to the new language that the state allowed.
Right. Well, I think they originally
So
allowed
they had the
100,000.
previous iteration.
Yeah, I think it was a farm building
Right.
issue. Yeah. It wasn't the machinery so much as the farm building. They went up from, I believe, about 100,000 to 500,000.
I know
Um,
that a couple of farmers I know in town um with the revals they were shocked at like how much some of their buildings were reevaluated at. So I know that increases in this exemption would be really helpful because they just can't absorb those kind of costs or break even in that kind of way. So yeah, I just wanted to say that I know the revals were really affecting some of them now with their property taxes on those buildings specifically. They weren't so concerned about the machinery.
Well, the way that we, wrote out our request is basically allowing the maximum exemption of 500,000 for the buildings. So nothing's changed with statute on that. So what we originally voted on, I think still holds. But I think what Jackie's suggesting, instead of being specific about the amount and saying 500,000, just to rewrite for both the machinery and both the buildings, basically to recommend that the town allow up to the maximum by statute.
So this is an ordinance. So we're sending a letter to the Board of Selectmen, and we're going to be asking them to consider it. They'll say, "Okay, we'll consider it. We're going to go to a town meeting." Is that what happens?
They will probably ask us to bring it before Board of Finance, or they will.
Oh, okay.
It might go before Planning and Zoning, like the right to farm ordinance, because they're going to have to look at what they already have for regulations around farming and to see if how that's going to impact things. So there may be some other boards and commissions that have a look at this before Board of Selectmen takes it all the way to a town meeting.
Okay, so basically what we're doing is we're introducing this concept to the selectmen right now.
Yeah.
And we're all saying, okay, we know that there's going to be more vetting by different boards and commissions.
Right. And there'll be discussion by town residents,
And then eventually if everyone agrees, yeah, okay, let's go to a town meeting and that's how it's adopted as an ordinance by town meeting.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Any other discussion? I know this gets complicated. I don't have an easy way to kind of screen share anything with you right now on that. If anybody has any more questions, though, please feel free to ask.
Do we need a vote on this?
I think so. So that will change basically the way we're asking them to consider an ordinance. Jackie, do you want to make a motion to that effect since you have a pretty good handle on the language you're suggesting?
Sure, I can try. So I make a motion to change the language on our proposed tax exemption ordinances to allow the maximum allowable exemption by state statute for both the equipment exemption and building exemption instead of providing a specific dollar value.
Yeah, you might have to have you say that a little slower for Laura to write it down.
Is this is kind of what I got.
Okay.
A motion to change the language on the proposed tax exemption ordinances to allow the maximum allowable exemption by the state. And then you did add instead of the specific amount. I don't know, did we need that piece?
I don't think she had a specific amount, but she said the maximum allowable amount by the state for farm
Amount by the
machinery and
state
buildings
for farm
and farm
machinery
buildings.
and buildings.
Is that what you said, Jackie?
Yeah. Sounds right.
Laura, why don't you read back one more time what you
Yeah.
have? Okay.
So motion by Jackie to change the language on the proposed tax exemption ordinances to allow the maximum allowable exemption. All right, wait. I have a mountain here again. To allow the maximum allowable exemption, I don't think we need an amount there, by the state for farm machinery and buildings. Does that sound right?
Jackie, are you comfortable with that language?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
maybe farm machinery and farm buildings.
Farm buildings, but
Okay.
okay.
Just specific. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Second.
So that's Jackie's motion. Do I hear a second?
So moved.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed?
Aye.
Abstain? That's an aye for Jackie. Opposed? Abstained? Okay, so moved. Okay, thank you. So I'll work with Jackie and we'll rewrite the letter to reflect what we just voted on tonight. And we'll send out a copy of that letter to everybody. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Jackie. All your work on that.
No problem.
All right, town development. Bob, do you have any updates from planning and zoning?
I do. Last meeting, we changed the zoning on the 12.3 acre parcel across the street from
From Love's?
Love's. That's on Polster Road. We changed it from R80 to designed commercial. And that's for a proposed 3-bay truck wash.
Okay.
During our initial discussions with the developer, we asked them if they couldn't possibly include a second pad site on the property. And they did do that. So off of Mahaliak, just past where the small garage is on that small section that backs up to this 12.3 acre site, they're going to have a small self-storage development, and that won't be in conjunction with the truck wash. That'll be after the truck wash is completed and up and running at some future date.
So this is just all that you voted on as a commission was the zone change itself, which allows them to come back with a development proposal, right?
Absolutely.
That'll have to go through the normal process again with a public hearing on the development itself.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Any other updates from any of the other land use boards that we know of? Anybody have anything? All right. Open space opportunities. I don't have any updates from my end. Does anybody know of any other potential opportunities for open space protection?
Not any new opportunities, but there has been a price reduction on the King property.
Okay.
That's come down to 950,000.
Okay. It was at 1.2 million before,
That's
right?
correct. That's
Okay.
correct. Yeah.
And how many acres, Bob? Is that like 150 something or 160?
Yeah, I've never checked with Charlie on that.
Okay. I thought it was advertised for like 160 acres, something close to that anyway, but
Yeah, it's kind of in flux because they're still working with some of the abutting landowners for purchasing property to add to their uh, lots.
oh, that's right too. So that might change. You're right. Okay.
Right.
So that's on Jared Sparks Road. I had sent information to the King family. The land is in a trust with about 8 members. So obviously negotiating price is going to be really challenging. And we originally talked as a commission that when it was 1.2 million, it was pretty much out of the reach of the town, even with open space grant funding. Not sure it's much closer to being in reach at 950,000. I had sent some information to the King family about the Department of Environmental Protection's land acquisition program that landowners can apply to so that DEEP can come out and basically do an assessment of the property to see if it's something the state would want to purchase. So I don't know if they've acted on that or not. But that's another option that landowners can think about. Anybody else have any other thoughts on open space protection right now?
Kathy, are you aware of any grants that are going to be opening up with the state at all?
The open space fund usually opens up after the new year, like they start putting out their information. It varies from year to year when the proposals are due. I've been involved with 3 of them. They're tons of work and they're worth it if you get the money, but it's a lot of time and effort to put them together, unfortunately. You jump through a lot of hoops. You have to have an appraisal done of the property, which is costly. You have to have an A2 survey with GIS points or GPS points, which is a very costly thing these days. You have to get all kinds of letters of support. You have to have mapping. You have to have, I mean, the package we put together for the last Talmadge parcel was 80 pages long. Carol helped me, but it was a lot of work. So again, the price of land is so expensive. And what DEEP does is they normally, if they do give you a grant, it's usually a 50-50 split. So the town has to come up with the other 50%. So
One of the
yep.
one of the person that was doing the workshop I was in last night for DEEP, she does all like a lot of the funds appropriations. And she was
Yeah.
saying, while the monies are there are been reductions, but it's going to make it even more competitive to get them. So she was like, get your applications in early and get them done well. That's just something, there's a lot of work to do it. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we were lucky. We got 3 different open space grants, since I've been on the commission. And I worked with that woman from the state. She's tough.
Yes, she is.
She's tough. But we were lucky. We did get the grants and that's why we have all the property off of Mason Road. That's why we have 2 Talmadge parcels and the Knowlton parcel. The parcels that are part of Fenton Ruby Park were all purchased separately without grant funding. We have about $100,000 right now in our open space fund for the town. I did put in our capital improvement program request with our request for $40,000 to go into the open space fund for every year for 5 years. Last year we got 35,000. Everybody knows how contentious things were at town meeting about spending this last budget season. I don't expect that it's going to be any easier this year, especially because we have, they're starting the school building committee. And there's going to be concerns about, trying to get some bonding. I don't know all the details, but I have heard that Tammy Nuccio is worked out something with the state where we can get up to 90% of like a school building, the cost for a new school building.
Yeah, 93.3% reimbursement.
Yeah, so that's significant, but it's still a lot of money, when you're talking tens of millions of
Yeah.
dollars for a school that the town's still going to have to put up, they're going to have to find a piece of land and so on and so forth. So there's going to be, and then we have the fire department buildings that they're trying to figure out if they're going to put together or continue to have two different departments with two different buildings. So there's a lot of financial issues in town. It just makes it harder to get people interested in putting money toward open space. But we should keep our eyes out. There's always, parcels that might come up and people are willing to negotiate, or like Mrs. Pettix, she was willing to basically sell it for less than market value. And it was something we could afford with our open space fund. All right, Willington Wire, gonna move forward. Before I forget, Bob's wife, Christine, came on before we started today, and she mentioned that she had picked up a copy of the Willington Wire, and she was very impressed with Jesse, our new assistant at the Park and Rec. He had put together the new wire, lots of pictures. Many of the pictures in it were pictures of Fenton Ruby Park that he took. So if you haven't seen a copy yet, I think you can go on the Park and Rec website now to see the copy, and they also have it on their Facebook page. And you can pick up a hard copy at the town office building, maybe even at the library or the post office. I don't know where they're distributing them right now. Do you know, Bob?
I think I always see them at the town office building.
Okay. Thanks, Laura, for your work on doing the article for the commission for the winter edition. And I had mentioned at our last meeting that I'd be happy to do the next article for the April, May, and June edition. I think I'll try to write a little bit something about watershed protection that kind of goes along with what we're doing with the Natchog Watershed Initiative. And then Tess, you were going to write something for Earth Day? Oh, I don't see Tess right now.
Yeah, hi, I'm here.
Hi.
I couldn't put my picture back up for some reason. But yeah, I've been thinking about the article, and I was thinking about trying to tie in a lot of the environmental kind of stuff in our town. And I think one of the big things was the recycling. And I was wondering, Heather, if you could get me some information on how much waste
Yeah,
the
actually,
town
it's
processes.
interesting that you say that because I do manage all of those numbers because I have to
Yep.
report to Deep. And I am working on, because I usually include it in our newsletter and on our Facebook page, but I do have data on the amounts that we do. And we actually do a pretty good job, but we could do better. But yeah, I would absolutely work with you on that because I'm always trying to get the word out and get people engaged in what
Heather,
we
do
do.
you know what the percent participation rate is for recycling?
By resident, by household?
Yeah,
No.
no.
I don't have that kind of data. The data I have is basically through the quantities of trash that's removed and recycled
Yep.
and by tonnage and pounds. I do not have per household because I'm not even sure where I would begin tracking that.
Yeah.
We don't have any metrics or way of measuring when people come in who's recycling or throwing away what and how much.
Yeah.
Even if we try to do something like that, we just don't have the manpower.
Well, I always I see everybody recycling, so
Yeah,
don't
I mean,
know.
but there's also households that also have home pickup through
Yes, yes.
Willie Waste. So, and I don't have metrics on
No, all
that.
we know is we could do the transfer stations. That's all we can
Yes.
do.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
But I'm
so
always looking, improving and new. Like last year, I added book recycling to that's a cool program. It's free to the town, but it actually offsets some of our costs in single stream. I'm working on plastic film recycling, and I am trying to look into some kind of organic or leaf or composting type
oh, okay.
option up there.
Yeah.
It's most people do it at home, but there are some programs through the state for organic composting options.
hmm Yeah, so yeah, I've been thinking about it, Kathy. I pulled out an old folder that we did over 30 years ago or 20 years ago. So it's like a primer, like what can you do? So I'm trying to do it towards our residents.
Mhm. Um, Heather, part of what you have to do for MS4 is public education. Is there
Yes.
something that you can tie into what Tessa's doing so you can get credit for it?
Yeah, and I was gonna actually ask you too if you're doing watershed stuff, because I have to update or do our MS4 portion, and you're doing watershed in the spring edition. Tessa's doing recycling. I can certainly.
Oh, recycling would be one part of it.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
I will tie that in. I can work with both of you. I'll tie that into some of my work that has to come out of my office too. So we're
excellent.
not reinventing the wheel, but getting the message out there.
So just so, and it gets really complicated because I'm just learning about it too. MS4, maybe you remember all the S's, the four S's. Municipal, stormwater, sewage, sewer structure, something like
Municipal
that.
stormwater.
It's
I don't.
basically the
It's
state
a
requires
yeah.
certain towns that by permit to do all these different activities to look to manage stormwater when they have municipal stormwater systems, when water goes down into like your storm drains. To look at, culvert capacity for flooding and water quality for water that runs off impervious surfaces and all this other stuff. But part of it's also public education about what the public can do to help reduce or help protect water quality. So anything that we do, or maybe even like the sustainable committee in town, I'm just thinking, Heather, you might be able to piggyback on because I know Public Works is responsible for reporting on MS4
Yep.
activity.
Yeah,
So,
it's I will say it's been a challenge for me to get administrations to care about the MS4. It's a mandate, but it's an unfunded mandate.
mhm.
So they don't really care. And I keep poking back and um I've gotten some stuff done, but I really need to do the public education component part. And I'm only I do try to get the hours in as I can to get it done, just because it's a
Yeah.
low priority to them. But I'm
Heather, we
trying to
have
move it up.
the town had to submit a plan, right, to
Yeah.
the
Yeah, we
state.
have a plan. It's on, if you look, it is on the Public Works website. Our
Right.
MS4 plan is up there.
And you have to report every year to the
I
state on
do
what's happened.
every year.
And how do you think we've been doing so far?
Um, Not good.
Oh dear.
So the 2017 is when the plan was implemented, and I've been with Public Works since 2024, January 2024. So it'll be 2 years that I've been there this January. And they really didn't do much of anything except they did have a design and had a firm come in and mapped all the culverts and all the
Yeah.
storm drains. That is finally complete.
But they also
I
have a
was able,
schedule. They have a schedule for
yeah,
clean out though.
yeah, there's a schedule.
Yep, so
But
that's
it's
good.
a low priority. I've had administrations say to us that they don't care. We're not going to spend money on that. But
But
I do
there's
poke
also
back.
the state can come back and fine us.
Oh, absolutely. I remind them that often,
Yeah.
but this town likes to think about those kind of things only when they happen. Yes, I'm very much advocating for pound of prevention. You know, an ounce is worth an ounce of, whatever. I can't remember what that is right now.
Yeah.
But I do work on it when I can, even though it's not a requirement of my position. I just
Yeah.
make sure I
Yeah.
make it happen because no one else is making it happen. Kathy and I went to the watershed committee, Kathy, which was fantastic. That's exactly what I needed, Kathy, to help me work on this. But I do have the schedule. The plan is up there. It's always available. I do update the report technically. Don't write this down, Laura. Technically,
This is
don't
just
write this.
sidebar conversation.
This is
Definitely a
sidebar. Do
sidebar
not write this
conversation.
down. Don't write this down. So the town engineer is the one that writes the report officially and signs off on it. Well, the last 2 years I've been writing the report and he signs off on it. That's how low priority it is for this town. And but I'm pushing back to make this happen because it's the right thing to do, whether they like it or not.
Yeah. Well, that's, I think it's part of Earth Day. It's like, coming from a town
Yeah.
responsibility and then an individual's responsibility. So, I can pull stuff out like that.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to coordinate Earth Day things. Last year, I coordinated, well, only a couple of people show up. Thank you, Kathy and Chris, and Andy for like a roadside cleanup. And I would like to do more though. I really wanted to incorporate something more that included like MS4 and recycling as well.
Yep.
Because that's
Yep.
our
Okay.
department too. So yeah,
Yep.
I would definitely collaborate.
Great. Thanks, Heather.
Yep.
Thank you.
So I would just make a quick comment.
Yeah.
MS4, it sounds like an environmental gang.
It is.
Yeah. Maybe I should write a rap for that.
There you go.
That would be good public outreach there. They might like it.
Oh, that would be fun.
Just don't get any tattoos.
I already got those.
All right. Thanks for all your work on that, Heather. Oh my gosh. Commission webpage. I wanted to thank Heather as well because she's been involved with the town updating their town website. She's one of the webmasters along with Stacy. And I asked her to add our member terms on our webpage, as well as the 2026 schedule. And she went in there and she cleaned it up even better than that. So thank you for your work on that. If you have a chance, if all the members have a chance to go on the new webpage, because it looks a little different now than it used to. You can, go and click on links and menu items and such. If there's anything that you would like changed or updated, we can talk about it at meetings, and then maybe Heather can help us with that as well.
Yeah, let me know because this website has some nicer options as far as media and resources you want to put there, videos and things. So if you ever anybody has any ideas to make it more interactive. I mean, there are limitations, but there's definitely more than the last website.
Okay. You mentioned, I just wanted to ask you quickly, you mentioned that Public Works has a newsletter?
I started a newsletter last year.
Oh, okay.
For Public Works and also for the transfer station in one newsletter. I did miss this summer's newsletter. I just did not have time. I'm working on the winter one right now. I usually keep it to 2 pages.
Yeah.
I missed the Willington wire because actually Rachel forgot to tell me the deadline. I just realized that.
Okay.
Because it was delayed for so long while she was waiting for an assistant.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
the winter one I'm hoping to have that out next week. I usually try to have a new edition out on the solstice or the equinoxes. I know it's just to have that cycle. And I'm working on it. But yeah,
How-
I do. And I post it on the web page, I post it on the Facebook page, I post it in the bulletin board, the new bulletin board at the transfer station, and then it'll be at the town hall, and then usually the Willington Wire.
Okay. Can people sign up to automatically get it through the e-blasts? I'm just curious.
I can set that up. I didn't set anything up like that
Mhm.
because I knew a while last year that we were getting a new website, and I didn't know how that would all work, but now I think I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so things have changed on the town's website. It really is, it does look a
good.
lot different. And I'm not sure if people had previously signed up to get automatic e-alerts regarding different commission meetings and minutes and agendas and all that stuff. You may have to go back in and sign back up for some things. I know I'm not getting everything I had signed up for in the past, so I just wanted to throw that out there because it's
Yeah,
a
you
nice
might
way to.
have to, yeah, you might have to go back and check some boxes. Everything should have migrated, but nothing
Yeah.
is ever seamless.
Yeah,
So go back and check your boxes for e-blasts and things.
yeah. It's a good way to, just get automatic notices about what's happening in town. So I do encourage people to do that. Um, Next item, open space and natural resource maps. We had talked about starting to work next year on updating our natural resource inventory as well as the maps. And I had mentioned that a UConn professor who lives in town had let me know that he has a student that is interested in doing some internship work with us to help with map updates. He has a minor in GIS. So I'm still waiting for that professor to get back to me with the name and contact information for that student. And if Paul decides to join us, maybe it's something that he can help us with as well, some of the updating of the maps for the inventory. Membership. We need to do is elect officers for 2026. So what I'd like to ask is if people want to make a motion on electing people to the seats for chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. Entertain those motions now. You want to move to suggest a name for chair? I'd be willing to continue as chair if you're afraid to ask, but
I will make a motion then to elect Kathy Demers as chair of the Willington Conservation Commission.
okay, second.
I'll second.
Okay, thanks. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Any abstained? Abstained. So moved. Okay, how about vice chair? Is anybody interested in being a vice chair for a commission?
If someone wants to take over secretary, I would.
Okay, so let's go to secretary and see if anybody wants to. Anybody interested in being secretary for the commission? It's not, a lot of what gets written down just follows the agenda items. So once you have the agenda in hand, you can pretty much just add information and it becomes the minutes. Really, that's mostly what the secretary's responsibility is just taking minutes for the commission. Is anybody interested in doing that for next year? You might be stuck with it, Laura,
Okay.
if you want to continue.
I'll continue. It's not my favorite position. But nobody was doing it, and you were doing both chair and secretary in that.
And,
I could
and I
let you do
do,
that.
I appreciate that. It's really hard to take minutes while you're trying to run a meeting. So, All right, so I move Laura Rodriguez continue to be our secretary. Do I hear a second? Bob, thank you. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? So moved. Okay, going back to vice chair.
Aye.
Yep, go ahead.
That was just a delayed eye from Jackie.
Oh, thank you. Anybody interested in becoming vice chair? All right, well, continue to consider that. And treasurer, Tess, do you want to continue since you
Yes.
started in this
Yes.
role?
Yep,
Okay.
be happy to.
Okay. Can I hear a motion for continuation of having Tess as our secretary?
Treasurer.
Oh, excuse me, treasurer. Freudian slip there.
Well,
Okay.
she really wants secretary. No.
I'll second that.
Okay. All right, who was the first? I'm so sorry.
I think you were Kathy.
Okay,
I think,
I'll,
yeah.
okay. All in, any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I heard a dog barking. Are they in favor?
That was an eye too. Yeah.
That was my dog saying yes.
Okay. All right. So moved. All right. Thank you, everybody. I don't have anything under communications. Does anybody have any new business they want to bring up tonight?
I'm not sure if it's in the right category, but I was wondering how many people would be interested in having some meetings in person as opposed to Zoom. That's kind of my preference, but
Okay.
So
Okay.
I would be interested if we could do it hybrid. I would love to be in person. I am going to be out of the country January through until mid-March. So I would like to be able to still attend when I'm not able to be in person.
All right. I will tell you this, if I'm running the meeting, I don't really know how I would do it hybrid because the other boards and commissions seem to have a staff person that comes and runs the meeting hybrid, that uses all of the technical stuff at the town office building. If we did have this in person, and needed to do it hybrid as well, I just don't know how we would do it. Hire somebody to do the staff part.
Could we?
couldn't we just have one computer set up?
Well, we could, but running a meeting and running the computer, somebody would have to run the computer. I know like planning and zoning and the wetlands, they have their land use staff run the meeting virtually while they're conducting their meeting. We don't have staff that support us. Board of Selectmen has their assistant secretary, their admin that does it. Board of Finance has paid help that does it. I honestly don't know how we would do a hybrid meeting. I mean, we'd either have to just meet in person or meet via Zoom. I would also have some difficulty running the meetings in the summer because I'm away if we had them in person. I mean, I like the whole concept, really, I do. I like getting together. We certainly could talk about trying to do it in person, during the winter months maybe, or in the seasons that I'm in town. But I would have a hard time in the summer. So I'm just being honest up front. How do people feel in general about, I mean, do you like the Zoom meetings? Would you prefer to be in person? What's your preference in general?
I think
I
it'd
think
be
it-
nice to be in person sometimes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I prefer the in-person meetings, but again, I understand your input about having someone run the equipment while we're having our meetings. I don't know, Laura, when you get back, maybe it's something that we can visit and have at least a couple meetings in person.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking is maybe March, April, May. Are you here for the spring months, Kathy?
Um, well, I won't be here probably for May, but I'll be around for March and April for sure. And then I'm usually back by mid-October. So we could consider, November, December next year as well. I have to get some rooms for us because we don't have the rooms set up anymore. I don't know if we'd be able to continue to use the big room downstairs because CIP has a lot of meetings during the budget season, and I think they meet on Wednesday nights. So we might end up using the small room where the Board of Ed has that room. But I could look into getting a room for March and April.
One thing I'm wondering, because now that I'm on the library board, we meet in the conference room in the library, and there's a computer set up, to that they're hybrid, so people can be remote. I could talk with Steve about how that works, if that might be a space that we could use. Um,
Well, if we weren't
I mean,
doing, yeah, if we weren't
I'd be
doing,
willing to figure out how to do the technology piece once I'm back, if something like
Mhm.
that would work. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, if you want to talk to him about using the library space for the meeting, as long as it's a public meeting space, if we're doing it at night, somebody'd have to unlock the library and that kind of stuff too, and lock it up, set the alarm, whatever that has to be done when we leave. But if you want to look into that, Laura,
Yeah,
that's
I'll look
great.
into it.
Okay. Any other thoughts on meeting? Laura, you're going to continue to be away for next semester, right?
I'm gonna be gone January 14th to March 4th.
Yeah, no, I said Nora. I'm sorry.
Oh, Nora.
Yes,
Sorry.
it sounds like Laura. Nora, you're going to be away till when? Like next year?
June.
Okay,
Okay, so we would need
So
to be.
June 17th.
okay. So you wouldn't be able to attend if we were in person. So, but if we could set something up hybrid and somebody wanted to run Laura, it's going to be hard to take minutes and do the virtual equipment. I mean,
Once it's set up and the
yeah,
meeting's running, it's just running.
I don't think it's
yeah.
going to be hard.
Yeah.
Well,
No.
Do you think we could just have, like Bob was saying before, maybe just a few of the meetings in person and the rest
Yeah.
would be Zoom?
yeah, we certainly can do that. Like I said, we can look into March and April when Laura's back because she's our secretary. We want her to be available to continue to take minutes. So yeah, if you want to look into that, Laura, that'd be
Okay.
great. Okay.
will.
And I'll just double check for rooms for March and April at least. So
Okay.
I just want people to know there's a lot of work that goes on, and I don't want to complain, but there's a lot of preparation work that goes into running these meetings. Getting there beforehand, unlocking the town office building, getting that kind of computer system set up, running the meeting, closing everything down, going home, and then it's just a lot of extra effort on whoever's running a meeting. So I just, want people to realize, what goes on. And I do appreciate all the things that people do for this commission and the time that you volunteer and pick up, new activities when we have new ideas. So I do appreciate that.
And I understand your concerns, Kathy. I did that for 18 years for the Historical Society when we were meeting in the town office building. Yeah, it's, you get there early, you stay there late. And yeah, there's a lot of preparation. I understand that. And you certainly have my sympathy, and let's make it as easy as possible on all of us.
Thanks. All right. Anything else under new business? So I guess, but just by consensus, let me just go back to what Jackie had brought up. regarding doing meetings in person. By consensus, we're just going to look into this and shoot for March and April in person. Is that what we've kind of come? We don't need to necessarily take a vote on it at the moment.
That was my understanding.
Yeah, I think maybe we should just shoot for April, since Laura's not going to be around. She's going to be getting back late in March.
No, March
Right.
4th. So March 4th, I might be able to figure out for us to meet at the library. We'll
Yeah.
We'll just- yeah,
I'm
we'll
happy. I'm
okay.
happy meeting just once in April.
Okay, we'll say April for sure, and we'll wait to hear back from Laura
Yes.
about the library
Yeah,
for
see how it
March.
goes.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds good.
All right, Jackie, is that okay with you?
Yeah, that all sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, okay. All right. Any other new business before we close for the evening? Paul, I don't know, if you were interested at this point, if you want to wait and come back to another meeting, think about maybe joining us on the commission. That's, no pressure, but maybe you can let me know.
Sure.
Okay, because what we would do is we would vote on recommending you to the Board of Selectmen for appointment to the commission. Okay. All right, great. All right.
I just want to say, Paul, you would be a tremendous asset to the commission if you could rejoin us.
Thank you.
I second that. Okay, next meeting will be January 21st. I hope you all have nice holidays and that we get some snow that we can actually enjoy.
Terrific.
Yeah.
All right.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Holidays.
Holidays.
Happy holidays.